what's happened in the last video.
Taboo eyes.
And here is more MrDudeManSir.
My eyes closed themselves. I guess I got so tired throughout the day that I didn't even notice that someone came up to me until they patted me on the shoulder. Before I press enter, moving this very bright cursor out of the way. Oh. Hey! Miku. Miku was standing before me. Yeah. I didn't need a mirror to imagine the expression of skepticism and annoyance on my face. Oh, excuse me, I must have interrupted you. Oh, no problem, I was just sitting here. Ah, right then. Miku beamed with a smile. I was just coming to dinner. I thought it was time already and it appeared to me that it's too early, but I decided to check just in case. Maybe it's not me who's mistaken, but it's the... But... She talks way too much in one sentence. The clock is... Well, not the clock. Clock's being mistaken. I just misread it. She seemed to be ultimately confused by now and fell silent. It's still about half an hour before dinner. Oh, that's great. I'll sit here and wait with you if you don't mind. Frankly speaking, I do mind. You know, I have some matters to attend to. I stood up quickly and left without saying goodbye, ignoring Miku as I always did, while she screamed something after me. A minute later, I got to the square and sat on a bench with a firm intention of finding a quiet and safe place here to wait for dinner. I think this is the first time in the last 4.5 days it felt like this. I was just irritated because of some insignificant details, but indeed, I was really angry. I've completely stopped caring about where I am and why I'm here. I don't care about how to get out either. What's driving me mad is that I always have to carry out some stupid task given by our camp leader, and it's always me who gets in stupid situations, sometimes even ends up looking like a clown. If all of this is some alien trick or a plot of the universal mind, they better consult with their psychiatrist. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fists. The most annoying thing is that everything seems to be happening by itself now. I'd be happier not having to carry around bags of sugar and weigh a ton, but I had no choice at all. I mean, any other option would lead to much more consequences in the muscle strain or hurt pride. I need to calm my emotions and just read good. Oh, yes, she's going to help me with my calm emotions. Olyana, who are you angry with? Olyana's standing in front of me and smiled slyly. Nobody, really, I answered absently, but my fists gave me away. Just like that. Okay, it's up to you. You better tell me, why didn't you run around the camp the whole day like some kind of bags? I had to, I replied reluctantly. I guess it was food? Maybe it was? Well, Yana was about to say something, but at that moment the bell rang, calling the pioneers for dinner. That was a really cool bell ring. I sighed in relief and quickly headed to the canteen, leaving Olyana behind. Goodbye. Oh, hello. Semyon, thank you very much for getting those various assortments of items and some beer as well for the ride. The camp leader gave me a friendly smile. For the cake, of course. Ah, sure. It was at that exact moment that I understood the true meaning of saying keep your thanks and feed your cat. I've never heard that before. You didn't tell anybody? This ought to be a surprise. Yeah. That's my boy. And now are you off to dinner? Olga Dmitrievna waved her hand, pointing at the canteen. Okay. I want my food. No bugs this time. It turned out to be plenty today, so I get a chance to eat alone. There was fish and mashed potatoes for dinner. What a misfortune once again. I'll be left half hungry. Fish and mashed potatoes? That's pretty filling if I do say so myself. It's not steak filling, but I mean fish is good. And didn't we have fish for lunch? It's a fish only day today. You're just really irritated today. You are very irritated. Maybe you need to take yoga classes. That'll help soothe your chakra. Having pushed my plate with a fried seed dweller today away, I laid my head on my hands and closed my eyes. But soon somebody came up to the table. Hey, you alright? I'm fine, I replied without changing any position. Just tired? Yeah, a little bit. That's bad. Slavia said, seriously. Of course. Remember that we are trying to go to the hike after dinner, don't you? Have you prepared anything? Oh. What, we're going on a hike? Okay. I opened my eyes and lifted my head up instantly. Lena was standing by Slavia. The hike. She was surprised. Didn't you know? Nah, I didn't. I put my head down on the table and covered it with my hands again. If only I could sink into the ground right away. The girls remained silent. I was left alone with my thoughts for some time, and that was fine by me. Maybe I could have sat that way until the end of dinner time, but the strong voice of Olga Dmitrievna was heard from the opposite end of the canteen. Guys! To celebrate the miraculous rescue of our friend and comrade Shirk, we baked this cake for you all. I lifted my head idly and looked towards the camp leader, but couldn't see anything beyond pioneers' backs. A second. Just a second. And nothing about me. Nothing about me rescuing Shirk or gathering the ingredients for the cake. And that's how it ought to be. Well, it would be wrong to expect anything else from our camp leader. Let's go. Or we won't even get our share. Slavia smiled. Let's go. Leonard agreed. Yeah, sure. Whatevs. I got up reluctantly and tagged along behind the girls. As we approached the crowd of pioneers, Olga Dmitrievna was putting the cake in the center of the table. And now... What is going on? What is going on between Olyana and that other... whoever that is back there? But the camp leader wasn't able to finish as Olyana rushed out from the pioneer crowd and dived into the cake. I spent hours getting the ingredients for that cake. You don't even understand. But look, Olyana just took a little piece of icing and is eating it. Gotta get a taste before Olyana jumps on it. She managed to nibble it a few times before she was pulled away. She was kicking and screaming. I stared blankly from outside of all this drama, Alyssa smiling, Lana picking up some ice cream with a finger, and all the curious pioneers around. I felt completely out of place here. I thought if I closed my eyes now and opened them again, here I am, back to the safety of my apartment in front of my computer. No, it's still here. That didn't work. I blinked but nothing changed, only the noise and the confusion became sharper. Olyana, that is the limit. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Well, in fact, behaving like this is a bit over the top even for her. Shirk broke into the conversation. Where's the court-martial? Please, Olga Dmitrievna, since the cake is celebrating my return, it's no biggie. He hesitated. It doesn't matter. The camp leader turned to Olyana. And you. Today I'm going to punish you to the fullest extent. You shall never behave next time. Wrong. Whatever. She snorted and turned back. You won't be on the hike tonight. As if I wanted to. I was more than willing to switch places with Olyana and skip the hike instead of her, but who knew? If I had to guess beforehand, I'd been the first one to go berserk and smash the dang cake. Something tells me something very, good is going to happen on this hike. Hopefully something dark and ominous. I accidentally skipped that, so I have to use my mouse wheel. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse. You have to get ready too, you know. There will be a lineup at the square in half an hour. I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seems I failed. Don't be late. Olyana was sitting at the table when I approached on my way back to the exit. So why did you do it? She looked very upset. But she had the right to be so. I wanted to. I like cake. So you're happy now? Of course I am. And you, good luck with the hiking. She smiled mischievously, sprang up and rushed out of the canteen. Well, a bit of luck wouldn't hurt. Walk and you shall reach. Is what exactly this proverb that kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend that I'm sick or just skip it without a reason. The events of this day taught me submissiveness. Although sometimes, whatever was happening made no sense to me. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes? I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyway, I forgot to ask whether I'm going to be overnight or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed a sweater that I had on me and I've arrived at the camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and stuffed slowly into the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga Dmitrievna had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. You know, I never really understood why there's this giant, the canteen is filled to the brim with people, yet I never meet them. And in these full assemblies of people, it's only the main peoples. No one else, no randoms, just us. Okay, but night was falling. If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture would we make? A crowd of pioneers lined up in a sheer habit, like they were waiting at the silent command of the bronze Genda. And all this happening in the scarlet rays of sunset. And there he is, waving his hand and screaming attack as roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs charged into battle against some ghostly enemy. But Olga Dmitrievna showed up and started the talk instead of Genda. It seems everybody's here. Great. I was so tired that I couldn't even think about anything, so I ended up just listening to the camp leader. Now today, we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in the hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn all these things together. A whisper that ran through the pioneer crowd suggested that most probably the only truly epic expedition would end in a clearing of forest several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow I thought so too. We'll walk in pairs. Yep, I figured that. So if you haven't chosen, I already have one. It's like that time when you're at school and the teacher's like partners and you already just look at your partner. I already know who I'm looking at. It looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slavy was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga Dmitrievna. Lena was with me. Oh, no! Electronic was, of course, with Shurik. Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all. Semyon! The voice of the camp leader pulled me out by my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly. I see that you haven't found a partner. Seems like it. Then you... Jenya? Wow. I haven't really talked to Jenya other than when she was raging at me. I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. So it appears that I'm left with a prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with even if I was paid for it. Although we would seem to be in the same boat now. I slowly approached Jenya. Well, I guess we'll be going together. She looked up at me. Don't you even think I'm glad, said Jenya seriously. Why on earth should I feel glad? I asked naively. Never mind. I'm gonna be my tsundere self and you better shut up, Baka. It couldn't get much better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I still haven't seen any special reason to walk in pairs. Anyway, we were walking in the well-trodden forest trails and it would be quite difficult to get lost here even if I wanted to. Moreover, while we'd already been hiking for half an hour, we were rushing into the depths of the forest, trying to face all the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirits. But instead, we were just walking in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga Dmitrievna was our chief, this hike would be compared to the Hobbit's March of the Shire to Whoa! Lord of the Rings reference! I suddenly appreciate this game much more. Just as Jenya insisted, I was following her at a distance in silence. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with it. Hey, don't you know when we'll reach our destination? Our what? The place where we settle down and set up the camp. The whole point of this hike isn't to set up camp, but the hiking itself. You don't get it. Baka. Yeah, it seemed that I didn't understand a thing about hiking. I guess you're right, but still. I don't know. She replied sharply and quickened her pace. I caught up with her and asked, Listen, why are you always so... I was about to say mean, but stopped short. I haven't done anything bad to you, so I'm not going to. She glared at me in surprise. Always so... oh what? A tsundere. Also unsociable. And kind of... or is it something about me? Oh, cut that stupidity out already. That face looks super angry, but as you wish. I decided not to start a conversation with her for the rest of the hike. At last, Olga Dmitrievna decided to stop by the Sisyphean toil, the world of glowing tree ants. Awesome. It's time to halt. The place chosen turned out to be quite a large glade with a few tree trunks laid in a half circle to make an improvised arbor, with the remains of a campfire in the middle. Obviously, such hikes are a tradition of this camp. For a second when I first saw this picture, I thought that tree in the background in the mid-right had a leg and was walking, which is why I said tree ant. But now I just realized that it's a really weird root. I was sent to gather firewood together with the other boys. I didn't take long because there were some branches and lots of logs of various sizes lying around. Eventually, Olga Dmitrievna lit the fire using some old newspapers she just carried the entire way. I was eager to know what was written there, but I couldn't discern anything but the Soviet symbols. Pioneers took their places on the fallen log benches and started to talk about things. It seems that the final goal of this event had been achieved. The only things missing were a pot of fish soup, aluminum cups of vodka, and guitar. But I wouldn't be surprised if all these would appear somehow. What do you think about? Slavia said to me. Oh, nothing special. Just enjoying the hike, I answered sarcastically. You don't look too happy, you know. Well, I'm not about to jump for joy. Sorry about that. Okay, I won't disturb you. Bye. She sat with me for a while, but after realizing that I wasn't in the mood of talking, she left me to enjoy the introspection all alone. And all I wished for was to lie down in the bed and fall asleep as soon as possible. But I was being surrounded by smoke and the useless chatter of pioneers around me instead. They were cheering and laughing and in general enjoying of this warm summer evening. On the far side of the glade I noticed that Lena was arguing with Alyssa intensely, and Elena seemed like a complete opposites to me. Slavia had left to go somewhere after our conversation, it seems. Electronic and Shurik were trying furiously to prove something to Olga Dmitrievna. Looks like the only one here that doesn't belong here. Oh, try to, you know, you've got to do this. I like arguments. Let's get some drama. But on the other hand, why should I care? All I was doing was just watching the fire. There's a saying that claims that one should watch it forever, as well as with running water. But there was also some third thing there. What was that? One could watch three things forever: burning fire, running water, and how other people work. The camp leader pulled me out of my daydreaming. Semyon, don't you think it's too early to relax? What else should I need to do? I honestly couldn't get what Olga Dmitrievna was wanting from me. I don't know. She stopped for a moment. But if there is something to be done, then do it without hesitation. She smiled ambiguously and went back to the fire to throw a few branches on. After those words, I am completely sure that she treats me like a personal slave. Or at least I'm like a free labor force, which is, strictly speaking, the same thing. I sighed and put my head down in my hands, hoping the torments would be over for today. I thought you were gonna go work with that argument thing. Someone patted me on the shoulder. Oh hey, you two. I looked up and saw Shurik and Electronic, who sat next to me. What do you want? I asked tiredly. Don't be sad. Did I accidentally click the wrong button? I might have clicked the wrong button. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm clicking the button and seeing if there's any different. I'm pretty sure that the highlighting means it's correct. I clicked it. But on the hand button, no. It's the exact same thing. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to load this thing back up to where I was, because that was a complete waste of time. There we go. So he said, don't be sad. Is there anything better to do? Look, we've been discussing the possibilities for the advancement of cybernetics club with Olga Dmitrievna. And there is a problem. We need more guys. If you could... He hesitated. Advancement, those guys are incompatible with each other. You know, I I would probably enjoy building a robot and echo sex spa as much as the next guy, but I don't really want to do that. It's not my thing. I said nothing. I started to look over the pioneers around me and said, well, I don't have time. Can you see that I'm always busy with the camp leader's errands? Yeah, I guess you're right. It's kind of embarrassing how it all went today with Oyana. I looked at him with such a surprise. It seems that Shurik blamed himself for that cake accident. Yeah, it is. All the pioneers seemed to be here, but I couldn't spot Slavia any— She was already next to you. She just ran off, because you ignored her. I think she's angry with me. Who? I asked absently. Oyana. Maybe I should apologize. No, it's not your fault. We sat silent for a while, then stood up and said, my legs are numb. I better take a walk. They made no reply. You just abandoned them as well. I made a few circles around our improvised camp, noticing the close looks of the camp leader following me. Looks like old Dmitrievna couldn't wait to come up with some kind of new task for me. I haven't found Slavia anywhere still. Maybe I should go try to find her. On the other hand, I felt sorry for Oyana every time I recalled her upset face. Maybe this hike isn't the most entertaining thing ever, but sitting here alone isn't any better. But at the same time, I didn't want to go anywhere, because I'm a lazy slob. What happened to the choice to go talk to, like, Lena? The argument thing. Oh, I bet the argument was to see... Maybe I actually never even looked at the thing. I just saw argument and clicked on it. Maybe it was not about Lena, maybe it was about Shurik, and that's why I talked to them. But okay, I'm gonna go try to find Slavia instead of Oyana. I was absolutely sure that Slavia was alright, so I decided to stay. But really? That was the entire thing. I clicked the button to go find her, and he's like, she's fine. Okay, that makes sense. I guess that's enough for me today. I sat in my previous place and waited for the end of the hike patiently, almost physically able to feel the looks of the camp leader aimed at me. At last she stood up and declared, now it's time to play cities! Yeah! I had nothing against the game itself. I just didn't know what it was, but it was obvious that the hike will take no longer because of it. It would take longer because of it, not no longer. That's the opposite. Pioneers sat around the fire and sang the Campfire song. I noticed Lena and Alyssa, who were taking their places on a trunk opposite me. It seems that everything was alright. Just a few minutes ago, I thought the opposite while looking at the quarrel. But anything is possible. I really like to know what they were talking about, but it's impossible now, and I can feel tiredness growing in me more and more. My mind was completely blank. To be precise, my head was so heavy that there was no place for ideas to unfold. In my better times, my brain appeared to be a wide highway with millions of thoughts running by, chasing one another, causing major crashes. Now it was more like a footpath in lost woods, which is usually and rarely only in exceptional cases. Man, that sentence was long. Slavia didn't come back. Maybe she had something to do. But once again, there's no way to find out now. Okay, let's start. Moscow! Oh, whoa, I just skipped a lot from accidentally holding enter. Okay, it was my turn. I tried to listen closely and catch the first side of the city I have to use. Sure, Arkhangelsk! We played several rounds. Each new city name made it harder to remember everything that was mentioned before. My attention was dissipating and I was already lost in all these capitals and megalopolises and villages and urban settlements. Semyon, it's your turn! MrDudeManSir brought me back to reality. Oh, excuse me, and what was the last one? You daydreaming again, mister. It was Sevastopol. Okay, then I'll say London. Already used. Well then, it got me thinking. There were a ton of cities in the world starting with L, but it was hard to remember even one of them now. Liverpool? Already there. Los Angeles? Ah, finally. She gave me a scornful look with the game went on. I could hardly bear to think of another city starting with L, but fortunately it was the last round. Okay, that's enough for today. It's already late, time to go back. Bye. I sighed with relief. On our way back, we walked in as we liked without joining in pairs. Night descended upon a camp. A perfectly regular and normal night. was one of those nights when dark skies, stars, and even crescent moons don't cause any special feelings, and the chirping of crickets and songs of the night birds seem more like a routine work noise than a nocturnal chorus. In a few minutes, all the pioneers are lining up in the square. It was quite late already, and fatigue took its toll, so our lineup was perfectly aligned. It looked me more like a line of Vikings after a successful battle, where all the warriors are happy and smiling, anticipating their return to their families rather than thinking about maintaining correct information. But someone else could possibly see a completely defeated troop or a bunch of survivors who have marched on their homeland with a lack of strength. That would be pretty weird in both those cases if someone thought that. Thanks, everyone. And now go to sleep. It's late already. Bye. Good night. Pioneers quickly ran their own ways, and I was left together for the camp leader. And we should go too. We went in complete silence to Ogamichi's cabin. Yeah, that picture though, on the left. I don't understand that picture. Everything else is like all animated and stuff. But that picture just looks like a weird man. Okay, let's sleep. Good night. Good night, she said, turning off the light. I was tossing and turning for quite a while, recalling all the events of the day. On one hand, I was overcome with fatigue. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd forgotten something, done something wrong, said something wrong. And this feeling of incompleteness was tormenting me. It's about 2 a.m. All bad things should end sooner or later. Or at least, take a break. Is it nighttime? Oh, I fell asleep. Bye-bye. Is it gonna be the magical computer? Yeah. Hello, computer. That was a very anticlimactic day. Nothing happened. Not a single thing. Even when I made choices, those choices did nothing. I feel so weird. What are the point of the choices? I don't understand. Wow.